Go deeper. How to define purpose and spark your business success. My name is Eric Anderton. Welcome to today's episode of Construction Genius. This is part one of a four-part series where we're going to be diving into four critical questions that will help you to structure a one-page plan to drive your business. And we're going to begin with defining the deeper purpose of your company. In the succeeding episodes, we're going to be talking about the personality of your business, the plan of your business, and the priority of your business. So purpose, personality, plan, and priority, they make up the one-page plan. It's a format I've used with my clients for many years. I think you'll find it incredibly helpful. And enjoy this episode as we talk about how to define that deeper purpose. And if you have any feedback, feel free to reach out to me. And thanks again for listening to Construction Genius here today. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Every car on the road exists for the same basic purpose: to transport people. But for many car owners, there is a deeper purpose to the car that they drive. What words spring to mind when you think of why you have your vehicle? Safety, power, fun, freedom, comfort, practicality, status, luxury, youth, rebellion, cool. The deeper purpose for a car depends on how the car is built and also the motives, perceptions, and feelings of the person driving it. When I first met my wife, she drove a SUV, and it was perfect for the ski trips that we used to go on. And after we got married and had kids, we switched to the Honda Odyssey minivan. A perfect vehicle for stuffing a bunch of kids in there. It had coffee stains and food stains and all kinds of other stains all over the car. But a couple of years ago, I upgraded my wife's car from the Honda Odyssey to a GMC Yukon. We went back to the SUV, and she was super excited. It's interesting because the Odyssey and the Yukon, they both fit the family. They're both reliable. But there was a deeper purpose beyond transportation that was driving the purchase of the SUV. In the same way, every business exists for a basic purpose, and that is to make money. But the best businesses have a deeper purpose, a deeper reason for existence that energizes the company. And the best companies understand what that purpose is, and they use it as a spark to their success. In today's episode of Construction Genius, we are going to explore three things. Number one, why having a deep purpose for your business is important. Number two, how to craft the deep purpose of your business, how to articulate it and craft it and express it. And I'm going to give you some real examples from real construction companies to help you along in your thinking. And then the third thing we're going to talk about is how to use the deep purpose of your business in your daily decisions. And up front, I want to give credit right away to folks like Jim Collins, who wrote the book Built to Last, Pat Lencioni. He wrote the book The Advantage, Verne Harnish. He has a book called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Each one of these authors has some thinking and some ideas around this thought of purpose. And they've definitely influenced the way that I think. And so let's dive into this topic here today. Why do you think having a deep purpose is so important? Think about the first question that you asked when you were young. You might not be able to remember it, but think about the first question that your kids ask. That first question is why? It seems like this desire for purpose and for meaning is embedded deep within human nature. It's not something necessarily that can be explained, but it just exists. And if you think about a small child asking why, what are they seeking to do through that question of why? They're seeking to define and understand and bring meaning to their world. And that's why having a deep purpose for your business is important. You want to be able to define your business and understand how it should operate, and you want to be able to tap into the deep meaning of the business for you. And today I'm speaking specifically to business owners, to senior executives. Later on, we're going to talk about this idea of skin in the game. And I'm speaking to the folks today who have skin in the game. And you think about the construction business. It's a difficult business. It's risky. It requires dedication. Competition is fierce. And having that deep sense of purpose can be extremely inspirational, helping you through those difficult situations. You need to be inspired. You need your mind and your emotions to be tuned in such a way that you're able to get through the difficulties and the challenges that you face. Having that deep sense of purpose and understanding it and allowing it to guide you, it keeps you from a life of regret, where you're thinking, man, I just went through the motions in my business. I failed to do my best, to be my best, to make my mark, to benefit others. Knowing that deep sense of purpose can guide you in such a way that you don't have that life of regret or a life of wandering, just getting by, just being another, just imagine that, just another contractor, another GC, another guy, another gal, just someone who shows up, they do an okay job, but maybe there's a lack of excellence, a lack of uniqueness. When you understand the deep purpose for your business, it really helps you to understand how you're unique in comparison to other contractors and how that uniqueness can benefit your clients. It also keeps you from a life of grasping, going after the shiny object, because as we're going to see in a little bit, a deep sense of purpose helps to define and articulate your strategy, your operations, how you run your business. So it's so important to be able to define that. And it really, really sets apart the great companies from the just okay companies. Purpose also leads to fulfillment. Every business solves problems and adds value. Otherwise, folks wouldn't be giving you money. But when you have that sense of purpose and you're executing on that and you're living it out and it results in that contribution, there's a real sense of fulfillment. And the clearer you have that sense of purpose, I believe the clearer and the more satisfying is that sense of fulfillment. And when you have that sense of deep purpose, it enables you to make the contribution that your business is designed for as you contribute to your clients, to your employees, and to your communities. And so as we talk about this idea of purpose, you can tell that we're in the realm of subjectivity, and perhaps it's not for everyone, but for many of the clients that I work with, for many of the folks that I work with, having that sense of deep purpose is so fundamental to their organizations. And that's why it's important that you spend time defining what your deep purpose is. So let's talk about that now. How to craft the deep purpose of your business. And this is where I want to talk about this idea of skin in the game. Think about the risk that you have taken launching a construction company or buying into a construction company, owning a construction company. Someone who has skin in the game is an individual who assumes risk related to their decisions, to their strategies, to their activities. If someone doesn't have skin in the game, it really removes them from caring about the decisions that are made. So when you're looking to craft that deep purpose of your business, gather your core team. And it may only be a small group of people. It may just be you and your business partner, or it may be you and folks who are going to be buying you out of your business at some point. It may be a group of senior executives who all have skin in the game, all have commitment. They're just not fly-by-night folks who are here for a little bit and then they're going to move on to another company. But there's that sense of commitment. So gather the stakeholders, the people whose wealth is tied up in your organization. And the reason you want to do this is because if you bring in the other folks, you can risk diluting the message. This idea of finding out your deeper purpose is not a team building exercise, although it does result in teams being built, but it's not primarily to unify your organization. The assumption is your organization is, well, let me put it to you this way. The assumption is that those people involved in discovering your deep purpose and articulating it are already committed and unified to the business. So don't let a little bit of lack of commitment dilute the thinking around your deeper purpose. And so as you are crafting that deep purpose, you may want to bring a facilitator in. And the reason why is if you're the leader of the company, facilitators always give you time to think. The best facilitators, you know what they're really able to do is they're able to hear the group speaking and synthesize the thoughts of the group into one or two key thoughts, and to do it in such a way so that you can actually hear yourself in what is being related back to you. That idea of synthesis and that idea of hearing the way you talk and framing your ideas back to you in the way that you speak in your language, that's one of the arts of facilitation that can be extremely helpful to you. But whether or not you get a facilitator, you always want to get that core team. You want to set aside time. Now, this idea of finding out your deeper purpose, it can take hours. It doesn't necessarily have to take days, particularly if you have a vigorous, honest, authentic conversation. But you should definitely set aside at least a couple of hours to have the discussion. And as you kick off the discussion, think back to when you started your business. What drove you? What drove you to start your business? I know what drove me to start my business. And I don't have a construction company, but I was driven by two things: freedom and fun. The one thing that I want in my life is freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of who I do business with, financial freedom, and then fun. And what I mean by fun is just enjoyment. So what drove you to start your business? And what drives you now? Don't be afraid to be idealistic. Think back to when you started and ask this question: why do we exist? What is the purpose of our company? What energizes us and gets us going? And again, that purpose, typically that deeper purpose, is definitely beyond just making money. Every company has the purpose of making money. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a business. But keep asking why. And when you first ask that question, why do we exist? The first answer that'll come up from most people is to make money. And that's fair enough. But then ask them, well, why do we want to make money? Why are we in this particular business? Why are we in this particular community? What is the purpose of our business? What is driving us? And so keep asking why until you get to the core. Get beyond money and look for contribution and fulfillment. And be willing to be subjective. And what I mean by that, it's this idea of deeper purpose. It's not necessarily a feeling, but it's a sense. It's something deep within you. And I have a hard time articulating exactly what that is, but I know what it is. And I do know this, is that that sense of deeper purpose, it must be authentic. It must be in your own words. And this is one of the fundamental things when you're defining this deeper purpose, is you're not in a marketing exercise. You're not even necessarily going to put this on your website. In fact, the examples that I'm going to share with you here a little bit later, you'll see that these aren't necessarily examples that you would put on your website. You're not really caring what other people think, right? I don't go around telling my clients all the time, I'm in my business for freedom and fun, but I keep it in my mind all of the time, and it drives how I do business and who I do business with. So avoid corporate speak. Put it in your own words. You don't need big words. You don't need generic words. You don't need fancy words. You need true words to define your purpose. Don't do it for the approval of other people. You're not there to make other stakeholders feel good. It's not a team building exercise. A really good purpose will attract some people, but it will also repel others. Don't do it for the approval of others, and understand this. This idea of articulating your deep sense of purpose is not a democratic process. Now, you can receive feedback from your folks, from the people who have the skin in the game, who are in the room, but you as the owner, you as the senior executive, you can make the decision about how you're going to frame that deep sense of purpose. Okay, let people weigh in so that they can buy in. But, if you're hearing things that aren't ringing true to you, then don't just push it through just to get it over with. Because really, you don't need to understand this deep sense of purpose to have a business. Plenty of businesses don't. But to have a really good business, my conviction is that most of the really good businesses, the excellent businesses, they know that deeper purpose that's driving them. And they use that to spark real success in their organizations. So let me give you some examples of purpose statements from real life construction companies. We'll kick it off with a framing company. Their purpose statement is this: we exist to provide and endure. Here's a tiling subcontractor. Their purpose statement is this: to crush the competition. Here's a general contractor. We deliver certainty. Here's a rebar contractor. We exist for the enjoyment we get from problem solving with the people we love and accomplishing things. Here's a sprinkler, a fire sprinkler contractor. Building lives by saving lives. And here is an air conditioning company. Making people's lives comfortable. Notice the diversity in each one of those statements. But notice that they're all fairly subjective. They're very personal. They're unique. They're phrased in a way that isn't corporate speak. You're probably not going to find another purpose statement exactly like each one of those. And there's a real sense of pride behind each one. Some of them, like the AC company, the air conditioning company, and the sprinkler company, they're closely tied into the trade that they're in. Some of them are about the structure of the company, the framing company that says we exist to provide and endure. They're an ESOP, and so they really want to cause their business to endure over many generations. Some are tied to what the market wants, right? The general contractor, we deliver certainty, right? When someone is purchasing construction services, what are they looking for? They're looking for that sense of certainty. And some of them are just personal, direct expressions of the CEO's nature, right? And that's the tiling company, to crush the competition. Some of them even are family oriented, like that rebar company, doing things for enjoyment with the people that we love. So think about those purpose statements. Think about perhaps if you've crafted a purpose statement, does it have that sense of that unique personal aspect to it, that sense of pride, something where you can say, yes, something where it goes ding, and you're like, yep, that is the purpose of our business. All right. So we've talked about why having a deep purpose for your business is important. And we've also talked about how to craft the deep purpose of your business and given you some examples. Now let's talk about how to use the deep purpose of your business in your daily decisions. The purpose of Nike, the shoe company, is to crush Adidas. So they're highly competitive. And that really drives the culture of their organization in many ways. And so if you have clearly defined your deeper purpose, it's going to help you when you're thinking about who to hire, who to retain, who to fire. I think about Amazon. Amazon's a hardcore company. I don't know Jeff Bezos personally. I love using Amazon services. But when I think of Bezos, I think of a hardcore guy. I mean, he comes across in the videos sometimes as this goofy kind of nerdy dude. But beneath that exterior, there's this hard interior. And I think it's demonstrated in the way that business is run. If you're not a hard person, if you're not a driven person, then you're not going to succeed at Amazon. Think about Nordstrom's, for example. I tell a story about how I bought some sunglasses at Nordstrom's, and then I had my wife take them back, right, because I had messed them up. And Nordstrom's replaced them, and they didn't even ask any questions about it. And their purpose is to take care of their customers, and that drives their policies. Think about Apple. They're obsessed with quality, and so it drives their processes in terms of how they design and manufacture their products. So that deep sense of purpose, it affects the people that work for you. It affects the way that you structure your policies and your processes. It can even affect your customers. Like I said, my purpose of my business is freedom and fun, and so I don't work with people I don't like. That's just what I do. I don't work with people I don't like because it's no fun working with people that you don't like. So that can really drive that deep sense of purpose, who you actually do business with. It can drive your strategy as well, which jobs you're going to pick, which locations you're going to work in, which clients are you going to work for. Okay? So all of these things are practical examples of how to use deep purpose in your daily decisions. And it's one of the wonderful things because it's like a filter. It's a way of orienting yourself when you're faced with how to make decisions and what to do. That sense of going back to your deep purpose all of the time and asking yourself, is this decision in alignment with my purpose? Because if it's not, then you don't want to make it. Now, as you're listening to the episode here today, you might be saying, I don't need another purpose other than making money. And I don't care if it's construction or selling widgets or something like that. I don't need another purpose. Making money is sufficient. And I say, fair enough. I know how hard it is to make money. And if someone's writing you checks in a legitimate business, it's because you are solving their problems or adding value. And so fair enough. But most people, like I said, making money isn't enough. And maybe you've tried this idea of crafting a purpose statement, and maybe you came up with one that was kind of corporate speaky and it didn't do anything. Let me just encourage you. Insist on authenticity. Just craft a purpose statement in the way that you speak. Understand it's not a marketing exercise. It's just for your stakeholders, for the folks that have skin in the game. You don't even have to necessarily tell your other employees about it. As long as you know it and your stakeholders know it and it's driving your business, you don't necessarily have to tell others about it. And again, if you struggle with articulating that purpose statement, then you may need a facilitator to help you with that. So in summary, we've talked about why having a deep purpose is important, how to craft the deep purpose of your business. I've given you some practical examples from real life construction companies. And then we've talked about how to use the deep purpose of your business in your daily decisions. So like I was saying at the beginning, the basic purpose of a car is to get you from A to B. It's a transportation vehicle, but there's a deeper reason why people drive the cars that they do. For years, like I was saying, we drove the Honda Odyssey and we upgraded to the Yukon. And I'll tell you why, man, the nice thing I like about the Yukon is you can roll in that sucker. We drove out to Colorado last year and man, we rolled in that thing. It's silver. It's kind of big. It's got a nice stereo. It's got TV screens for the kids. It's more comfortable than the Odyssey. And you know what? It's cooler. And that's what my wife likes. She was done looking like a mom in her Odyssey, and now she's rolling in the GMC Yukon. There's a deeper purpose that was driving her. Plus, she likes being a little bit above the crowd in the SUV, feels a little safer. So things like safety, that cool factor, that comfort factor, all of those things were driving the purchase of the GMC Yukon. Do I get a sponsorship for saying GMC Yukon a whole bunch of times? Hey, GMC, if you're out there, hit me up. All right. So let's talk about now your next step to define your deeper purpose. Gather your team and begin the conversation. Set aside time. Put away the phones. Put away the computers. Get a whiteboard or a flip chart or something like that and begin the conversation. Why do we exist? What's the deeper purpose of our business? Once you've done that, make sure that you begin then to align your policies and your procedures, who you hire, who you fire around that purpose. And if you've already done it, ask yourself, do I like my purpose statement? Is it actually real? Does it sound like me or does it sound fake and corporate? If not, then change it. Go back through the process of finding your deeper purpose. And then, if you have defined that deeper purpose and it is true, but you're not living according to it, then feel free to recommit to it. Get your key stakeholders in the room and say, hey, listen, guys, we haven't been living out our purpose, but we are going to do that from now on. If that means you have to move some people out of your business, do that. If you need to fire some customers as a result of that, do it. If you need to change some policies and procedures, do that as well. Allow your deeper purpose to drive your business. This is Eric Anderton. That remodel that's happening, the UPS guy just pulled up, and I'm not sure if he needs a signature or not, so I'm going to check. Give us a 5-star review for the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. On Apple, we've just hit 50 reviews, so I'm pumped, and we got a 4.9 rating. So feel free to give us that 5-star review so we can keep knocking up that review. Feel free to share the podcast with other people. If you are a construction company CEO and you need some help facilitating your meetings where you're going to explore this deeper purpose, feel free to reach out to me on my website. I'm not a fit for everybody. And I'm definitely not inexpensive when it comes to facilitation, but at least we can have a discussion and see if or how I can help you. Go to my website, ericanderton.com, and go to the contact me page, fill in your details. I will respond to you within 24 hours. That's another thing. I just want to leave that. One of the things I've been finding as I work with bathroom remodel is some people really don't know about customer service. I mean, they're in business and they've obviously got a business of some kind and they're making money, but they don't know how to respond to people. They don't know how to get back to them within a short period of time. And it seems like they just, they're not in business for their clients. They're just in business for themselves. And I understand that in a certain way, but man, make your business all about the clients. If you're out there serving people and responding to them quickly, you're going to have a successful business. Anyway, you can tell that my bathroom remodel is on the mind. Again, thank you for listening to Construction Genius here today. Share the show with others. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and have a terrific week. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership.